Hi, I'm Simone and today we're going to be making a chocolate mousse. This is a slightly different chocolate mousse in that it doesn't contain raw egg whites, but it is beautifully light. Not quite as light as one that involves egg whites, but still absolutely lovely. So let's get started. Firstly, I've cut up some mega marshmallows into small pieces. If you've got mini marshmallows, then absolutely use those. This is what they have at the shops, this is what I bought, and I've cut them up with a pair of scissors. I'm also using some really good quality chocolate. I've decided to use two. I'm using dark and I'm using milk. That's because I wouldn't normally eat dark chocolate, but you do need it a little bit for this recipe. So I've broken up my chocolate into small pieces. I'm adding that into my non-stick pan with my chopped up marshmallow pieces, although obviously you can use smaller marshmallows. I also recommend using the white ones. And I've got here some margarine. Now you can use butter instead, that's absolutely fine. Salted or unsalted is completely up to you and dependent on your taste. My butter is at room temperature, but it really doesn't matter. I'm also using coffee. I made this coffee about 10-15 minutes before I started making the recipe, and what that means is it was still hot but it wasn't boiling. My pan is on a low heat on the stove. It's quite a decent thickness of pan as well. If you've got a really thin pan, I would recommend put it on the absolute lowest heat. What you really don't want to do is try and rush the melting process here. In a stand mixer, I have my cream and I'm whisking it with the whisk attachment. It's going to take around about 5 minutes. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm also watching my mixture on the stove. If you don't have a stand mixer and you need to do it by hand, whip the cream before you start heating the stuff over the stove, because you really do need to watch it. It's also important to use a non-stick pan so that it doesn't stick to the bottom or the sides of the pan. This took around about 5 minutes. And also my cream took around about 5 minutes to get to that point. So my cream is now of a plopping consistency, which basically means it's not stiff peaks, but it is pretty stiff, and that's the consistency that we need it for. Now in the pan here, you can probably see there are quite a few bubbles in there. You want to keep those bubbles. So I took that off the stove and I left it for about 10 minutes to cool a little bit. And now I'm going to be adding it to the cream and I'm going to fold the mixture in. It's really important to fold the mixture, not to stir it, because you don't want to knock the air bubbles out. With a mousse, the air is what makes it light. The more air, the lighter it is. This isn't a ridiculously light mixture. It's kind of like a half mousse, half pudding consistency, but it is absolutely beautiful. You can only have a small portion of it. I would definitely say that because it's super chocolatey, but it's absolutely lovely. So don't knock the air holes out. Fold it. It will take a few minutes. I know it takes longer than stirring it, but it is definitely worth the effort. Now that your mixture's ready, you've got several options. You can just put them into ramekins or into a big bowl, depending on how you're going to be serving it. But I just wanted to show you this. It's really quick. I just made some chocolate cases using silicone molds. I'm going to do a completely separate video on it, but I just wanted to show you. Not only are they really easy to make, but they're absolutely beautiful and really a good way to serve this dessert. It also means that you get a good portion size as well. It's a really good way of making sure that you don't serve too much. So I put my mousse into these little cups that I made. They were in the fridge for around about 3 hours, so I just want to show you what it looks like. I did actually take this straight out of the fridge and then do a little video on it, so it was actually a lot harder, so I would definitely recommend that you leave them to get up to room temperature for around about 5 minutes before you try and break into them, as the chocolate will be really stiff, quite brittle and hard. But definitely try this. You can see that there's still loads of air holes in there. It's really light. Having a chocolate cup means you've got that extra chocolatey element. And you can see all of those little air holes there, and just on the spoon. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Definitely hope that you try this recipe, as it is so easy. It involves very little effort and it is really impressive. If you've made this and you want to leave me a comment, I absolutely welcome it. So thank you again. Please comment, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.